the Rebel Scum podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/Rebel Scum podcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You are always scum. Rebel Scum.
Rebel Scum podcast. I'm Brock. This is... You're muted. And just below... There
Heidi.
it is Heidi.
I warned you. I was coughing
I know.
in the opening, and it happened right away.
Well, we deliver here on Rebel Scum podcast. What is up, everyone? Have you had a great holiday weekend?
Yeah, the holiday. I can't believe like the Christmas season has come and gone. Like it's like, I mean, technically we're still in it. You know what I realized this year though, more than like any other year, I realized is everyone is in like and Heidi, I don't know how it is down there. I think it's the same though. Everyone's in like this mad rush to get the tree up, the decorations up. And it's like Santa Claus hasn't even squeezed himself down the chimney yet, and everyone's already ready to just put everything away. Like, get rid of all the decorations. Like, you put it up like while your kids are trick-or-treating, and you're taking it down while they're opening presents. And it's just a little overlap. Maybe we're rushing into it a little bit. But I just noticed that this year more than ever. I'm like, geez, it's getting kind of like pretty soon we're going to celebrate Christmas on American Thanksgiving, I think, just to like have it up. It's weird.
Well, here we have Christmas in July. So.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Christmas when it's warm, it's got to be amazing. So it's like it's good to enjoy. I still have all my decorations up. Like I still have Orthodox Christmas on Tuesday. And funny you mentioned that. I noticed because I live in Mississauga, Canada, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. The tree pickup from in the Peel region where Mississauga is January 28th. So it's only on there once. So it's like your tree. If you have a real tree, it's sitting on the curb, so you might as well enjoy it. Fairly
20.
simple.
That's okay. That's a little excessive. Like that's long.
I mean,
All right.
well, get
And
a
it's better than I don't care. I don't have a real tree, so I don't know.
My dear late mother, when she was born in 1932, so there are less people on Earth. So the tree wasn't up until Christmas morning.
And that's something else. I was talking to somebody about that today, where I was like, every time I watch a Christmas special, especially the Flintstones Christmas, shout out Flintstones Christmas special of all time, they put up their tree Christmas Eve night, and I'm like, and it's like, is that for the convenience of the show, or because I also remember like being younger and like we would put the tree up like a week or two before Christmas, and like it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas was really a lot closer to Christmas than it is now. I'm not like, I understand the stores, they want you to buy stuff, like you said, a lot more people, but I think people are getting kind of tired of the Christmas stuff being up for a month and a half, 2 months almost. But I think we're doing it on the opposite. We need to have it. I think there needs to be a little bit of a shift. So I don't know, but I would have it up all year round. Do not get me wrong. I would be like, what, multicolor lights all year round? I'm not allowed to have those. But if I did, they'd be up all year. I'm okay with it. I love Christmas. I'm not complaining. I just noticed it this year more than any of that. I'm like, people are taking their stuff. Like it was like literally like 12 o'clock on the afternoon of Christmas. People are like, no more. It's over. I'm like, geez, seriously. Have some lamb.
Oh, sorry. I had it wrong. January 23. Sorry, go ahead.
That's 5 days.
No, I was just going to argue with James that the greatest non-holiday special, Christmas special of all time is actually the Fruity Pebbles Christmas.
It's fantastic. The commercial, yes, it is good. Anything the Flintstones did at Christmas time was stellar. And Home Improvement as well. Home Improvement at Christmas time, 10 out of 10 every year. 10 out of 10. Roseanne did Halloween the best. Sorry, Tim Allen. Roseanne got you. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, skeleton. Speaking of which, neither one of these were specials, but last week we had a Christmas Eve skeleton crew, and this week we had a New Year's Eve skeleton crew, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. No stranger to the Star Wars streaming stuff. We got Vermont Mike in the chat. Hey, Vermont. Even though his name's Mike, I call him Vermont. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into this episode. Enough of this Christmas talk.
Yeah.
So this episode came. When did you guys? Before we start, Brock, Heidi, I'll start with you, Brock. When did you watch the episode? Because it was on New Year's Eve, which is a tough. I think Christmas Eve was tough for me, but I think people can manage that. But New Year's Eve, I think, is tougher for a lot of people to watch an episode of a TV show. Hey, Ron.
I think it was like 5 p.m. the next day, and I had forgotten it was on. I was like, oh! So, yeah.
Heidi?
I didn't have plans, so I watched it when it dropped.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched it the next day like Brock. But you know what's funny is I actually thought about it on New Year's Eve, and I was like, ooh, it's 8:30. In half an hour, I could watch Skeleton Crew. And then I forgot about it until the next day. So anyway, let's get into the episode then, which was last week we saw the betrayal of Brock's favorite named Jedi, Jod Nana Wood. This episode, even though it was confirmed earlier, people still didn't want to believe that he was Captain Silvo. This one definitely confirmed that he was Captain Silvo in this one. But Jod Nana Wood, we saw him escape with the riches on the planet. What's the planet's name? Luponerono? Lupina?
Luperina time.
Lupina on the planet Lupina. And he was caught by Urkel. Urkel finally caught him. So Urkel did not meet his demise at the hands of the booby traps in last week's. Vermont Mike watched it yesterday as well. But so at the beginning, I thought it was great because I will say this: when he calls SM-33 Smee to save the day and they just shut him down, I was like, gold. I thought that was a gold moment. I thought it was a good. I like that. I liked what they did in this episode in a lot of ways, but I really am curious what Jod Nana Wood's plan is. Like, what is his plan now? Because he's got the pirates going to Ad-Aden with him, and he clearly doesn't want that to be the case. He wants that for himself. So I'm really wondering what's going on there. And the kids, they're on their way back as well. Oh, spoilers if you haven't seen the first 5 episodes of Skeleton Crew. But I don't know. You guys can talk over each other. What do you guys think? Do you think he has a plan? And what did you like about the episode?
My only complaint, I thought it was too short.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was 45 minutes. It's like I wanted a little bit more. But other than that,
how long was this week?
30 something. It felt good, but I agree.
I've seen a few comments about that, and my stance is and will always be, I was ready to move on. But I have seen, honestly, a lot of people have commented about how short this one has been. I'm good with it. I watched the Dune show, and those episodes were like an hour and 10 minutes. And I would have preferred that to have been like 24, 20-minute episodes. I like the short episodes, especially when I'm just laying on the couch like, I just want to sleep. But that's, you're definitely not alone in that one.
I think like it's not so much like it's the story's incomplete. It's just like it feels good to watch this show. You want to live in it more. And I think I was going to say this. I think I almost texted this to you, James. I was like, it's like, I know I'll want 2 or 3 more episodes once this wraps up at episode 8, because I'm just like, I just want to see more. Like, this is great. Like, what happens with the crabs after this episode, or like, just like, just the kids doing stuff is like, it feels really good. And you're like, even though we didn't, like, we were talking last week a lot about like, oh, they could do a lot of cool things with like lore in this, but like, even if they don't, it's still like winning. It's great. I was super happy with this episode. And I will say this. You said his name is officially Captain Silvo, but I would
No. I said he is Captain Silvo. I didn't say his name is Captain Silvo.
I don't know. I mean, I know this goes against my desire to not hear Jod Nana blah blah whatever again, but I think nobody knows his real name. Like I said this before, but like even for that bounty hunter who screws it up for him at the spa, she continues to call him the name she knows him. I think
Yes.
no one knows. And to go to your question, I don't think anybody knows what's going on in Silvo's head. Like I think he is I don't know what kind of character to compare. Like he's obviously like a rogue. He's like a hustler. I think he's constantly thinking and he's constantly hatching plans. So it's like I don't think we could predict what's going to happen next.
See, I was talking with James about this, and actually, some text. I can't take credit for this. If it's my idea, I'll take credit for it, which most of my ideas are wrong. But Star Wars Meg has a theory that the opening scene is not actually in the future. It's actually in the future. That's actually the heist they're going to pull off.
I like that.
So maybe the guy in the mask is not John Otwood.
Yeah.
Maybe he's pulling a fast one. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to take credit for that because I'm not going to steal somebody else's idea.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that.
I mean, the idea I have is about the banking clan. Maybe they're still running the planet. They're still the separatists. Even if they're not involved, I think it's interesting that we had Darth Plagueis, Amund in the Acolyte, and now we had the Munds as the banking clan in this show. If they're not the actual villains in this show, I think they might be villains in the Mandoverse.
Okay.
Gearing up to that, maybe. Yeah.
And I'm anticipating a mad dash, like it's a mad world. Because the New Republic now knows about it. The pirates know about it. And if the banking clan isn't involved, they're going to want to know about it. But we may end up getting like a lesson in economics 101, because if they go to this planet and steal everything and keep it to themselves, they're just going to devalue the money real quick.
Well, that begs the question, why is that money valuable to begin with?
Especially since it's like Old Republic credits. It's like, where'd you get this? it's like I paid with a silver dollar. Ooh la la. Yeah,
like that's it. You know, do you guys think we're going to see Smee again? SM33? Like,
oh yeah.
Where's he hanging out right now? I think we are too, but like, where is he?
I think he's gonna side with the kids. Because you notice they said, I hope they saw that robot that looked a lot like Smee, and they said, I hope Smee's all right.
Oh yeah.
And then, but they never said anything. I hope Jod's all right.
I thought Smee was going to show up and help save the day at the end. We'll get to the ending in a little bit, because this was, for me, this was a great episode because it was my least favorite phrase in the history now of storytelling is the hero's journey. I cannot stand when people bring up the hero's journey. I'm like, I get it. God. But this one wasn't hero's journey, but it was kind of hero's journey in the sense that these are kids. We're still watching a show about kids. Yeah. And these were all kids dealing with kids' problems. But like somebody just said, Bondage Brittany just mentioned the Breakfast Club. And it was kind of like you have your jock, your nerd, your prom queen. You have all these characters there. Not those exact ones, but the versions of them. And this was about them discovering who they are. But also like with Fern and KB, like there's also that like, there's a part when you're a kid and you're growing, you grow kind of beyond your friends, and your friends have to grow together, and you kind of don't understand each other. And so it was like, I'm like, oh, this is like an actual kids episode now about kids dealing with kids' problems that people don't really think about dealing with. And in the end, it all culminated in them all figuring out who they were and ultimately saving the snake ship, because now it's the snake ship because it sheds its skin like a snake. But like it's all about the kids like coming together as a team, but they had to learn who they were to get there. Like Fern and Neil, like the fact that they split the teams in a way that they never did before with Fern and Neil and women, and KB calling Wim a Jedi. Bro, he's a Jedi. He's totally Luke's son. Let's be real. And he's Rey's father.
Oh, God.
But like I thought it was so well done because ultimately when you think about the episode, not a whole lot happens, right? There's not like a whole lot happens in the episode, but it's all about character growth and character development, which I think a lot of Star Wars shows have been lacking going into, like, if you think about it, we don't get a ton of those, and it works because, like you said, Brock, like when the series ends, we're gonna want more. But I'm hoping we want more because of what you said. Like, we love the world and the characters, not because the story's incomplete. Because we just want to hang out with them a lot more. And right now, that's where I am. I'm like, I want to see more because I like them so much. I like, if it doesn't end, that's another. Hopefully not. But yeah, like, and I thought this episode was the perfect one. We're like, oh, they're well-written characters, and they're just gonna focus on the characters, and I'm into it. Let's go, because now you know what they're all about, and they face their task, and now they're going to move forward. So I really like this episode a lot.
I mean, I think it's interesting. Last week's episode was called "You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates," and actually, I think this episode showed they did learn because, yeah, I mean, Jod ended up betraying them, but because of what they learned from him, they learned how to pilot the ship on their own. Like, they knew where to go. Fern knew what button to push to get out of there. I mean, they basically I would say cross the streams. Wim knew to go to the gunning post. Neil remembered how to fly the ship, and it's also symbolic, like you said, of a snake shedding its skin. But it's no longer kids in a big ship for grown-ups. They now have their smaller kid ship. It's now their ship.
Yeah, that's actually a really good metaphor right there. When I watched that scene, I was like, oh, this would be perfect at Smuggler's Run, like at the park. Like this whole story reeks of like this would be an amazing thing to add to Galaxy's Edge, where these characters are just existing, but like they also can just be the characters in the show. It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I think the titles are really coming into play because this one is zero friends again, which like you think it's more they split apart, but really they have no help now. There's no Jod, there's no SM-33. They don't even have the ship, so it's just like it was great. Like it blows my mind that kid that plays Neil, it's just like. You're like, even though Neil wasn't like front row center this episode, he was there, obviously. But
his eyes, man, he's got the most endearing eyes.
Yeah,
I hate when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cry from Neil. I gotta bring this up from Bondage, Brittany. The supervisor is Christopher Lloyd, who escaped from Lizzo Planet jail, who already was a city supervisor and likes running them with droid schemes, plotting revenge. Then the kids will say hi to Grogu when Mando comes to put Christopher Lloyd back in Jack Black Planet jail and plug the movie. I feel like this is the most Disney thing that they could do. They're like, oh, what jail cells he's in? 526. 526. Like, oh, May 26, 2026. We got to go.
It's definitely a Muppet movie premise where there's just cameos upon cameos upon cameos. Yeah, no, it's just like they fall down this chute and basically run from crabs all night and then try to climb a mountain. It's just like it's perfect. Though I did enjoy the Jod and Brutus and the rest of the pirates sort of like that interaction because we're getting a little bit more of like who these pirates are, and it's like it made me think of I mean we get introduced to some pirates in Mandalorian. It's just like is are pirates something they really want to push, which I don't. I mean if I would feel like Favreau and Filoni are like do pirates in this one, so I like this. I want more. The pirates talking to each other in this like darkened wherever they are. Oh, well, they're on a ship, I think, right? Yeah, it felt like Jabba's palace, where it's like we are up to no good, and it is dangerous here.
Yeah,
I would say she knows more about Star Wars than her
dad. She's handling them all very well. And I thought like this was such a just like the character driven episode right in the middle. But one thing you said, like John Underwood and the pirates and getting to them. And what I love about that is I was very intrigued by what they're doing. But the main focus is obviously the kids and getting the kids home and the kids trying to get home. Like that's our main focus. So, and it's like they balance cutting to John Underwood just enough. Like it never takes away. And when we get to them, it's not like I want to go back to the kids. It's like you're happy where you are, and they're there just long enough, and you're like, perfect, go back to the kids. And it just doesn't feel like any storyline is taking away from the next because we're just getting just what we need. Like the main focus should be on the kids, and it is. And we just got enough John Underwood to be like, oh, what is going on here? And then we know we have his setup. The setup for the next episode is right there. We know exactly what's happening. And I like that. And then by the end of this episode, we see that the kids are on the same trajectory as him. So we're on a collision course of Jod, Wood, and kids, no, Jod. Kid, no, Jod.
I think they do an excellent way of like introducing an issue that's going to arise in the next one. Because I remember I almost brought it up last week when they mentioned like KB's like, are you worried about like the moisture getting in your augmentations and stuff? And then they showed it in the preview. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so this episode's going to be about that. And like I think there was a little reference to
I didn't watch the preview.
Yeah. So it's just sort of like, it's like, oh, right. Like she is different. So she can't do every single thing, which is basically one of the issues in this episode. It was great. I don't know. I'm really digging following the Star Wars Instagram while watching the show because they are throwing out so much stuff. It wasn't Doug Chang, but one of the guys that works with Doug Chang was talking about how they designed the crab, the gigantic crab. And it's like, it's a model, right? It's not like, well, obviously it's not a real crab. Those don't exist, or do they? They did the old, miniature and then make it look like bigger. He's like, we wanted it to look like he had things on him that existed in that universe, and they used like pieces from Star Wars models and put it on his back. And apparently, if you look close enough, you can see R2's hanging off one side, C-3PO's in the back, and K2SO I think is in it. It's just like those little touches. You probably can't see it at all. You can see it when you watch the Star Wars video on it. I'm like, it's just like it doesn't change the story one way or another, but you're like, the attention to detail is always nice to see. So
I did hear that it was stop motion animation, and I did get a kick out of the crabs and talk about I like the one crab whose body was basically just part of a protocol droid, like
yeah.
But we go and think, oh, these cute little guys are gonna help them, and Wim said, I'm always getting the good guys wrong because it turns out they weren't trying to help them; they were leading them to mama crab.
That Wim line's the best. It's like, why do I trust the wrong people? And he's like, he doesn't even like say it to someone. I feel like he like looks away and looks down. It's like, why is this happening to me? It was great. And like I love those little crabs. They're like, follow. It's just like, this is not a good idea. But you're like, it's also endearing because they have tiny little voices and they're like, oh. What else was great in this episode? It just was. It's stunning to me that like I watched this episode. I was like, ooh, I could watch the rest. I think I definitely will like watch these a couple times because like I keep watching on my TV in the middle of the day or when the light is out, and the way my family room is set up, I get a lot of glare on my TV, so I miss a lot of details. So I'm like, I definitely watching the show again just to see those little details of things. So I'm gonna put my screen up to my face like this and be like, oh, there it is.
I mean,
I only watched it at night once. I have to do a rewatch. I did say to somebody, sorry, Heidi, I did say to somebody earlier today, I'm like, oh, I'm interested in watching it. I'm like, maybe wait 2 weeks and just watch them all. Yeah. Like just watch them all at once. I do think, even though I feel like the episodic works a lot better for this show than most of the other ones we've gotten, I just still kind of feel like, yeah, like especially when, even though it didn't even cross my mind that this episode felt short, but like I said, people are saying there's a lot more than just Heidi saying it to me. And if that's the case, maybe it's better if you just wait and then, because then the episode's short, but the next one's right there. When an episode is too short, the next one's right there. When it's not good, the next one's right there. It's easier to mask those things when you watch them all together. So I recommend just waiting it's only 2 weeks. If you haven't watched it yet, you can wait another 2 weeks and binge them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that the kids got themselves out of the predicament. I honestly thought like they were gonna get way in over their heads, and like the New Republic was gonna get them out of trouble. So I thought that was cool. They really got themselves out of it. Damn. But I think the thing was a homage to Toy Story 3.
Yeah, it did feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I got super psyched when X-Wing showed up. I'm like, you don't have to show me the pilots. But like, I love how like Wim's like, those are the good guys. It's like how you don't see them. It's just like, it's just that that kid innocence of like, that's the good guys is like, or he's starting to piece it together because he keeps getting double crossed.
Yeah.
But X-Wing showed up. I was like, let's go.
I thought that was funny because Neil was like, "Oh, but Jod said those were the bad guys." I'm like, after what Jod pulled, you're really gonna take the worst choice.
Yeah. I love the ending too. Like you said, the Toy Story 3 homage ending going on. It was I thought SM Smee was gonna show up and save the day, and he kind of does because they remember what he says, but he's not there. I'm like, oh man, they just didn't. The kids are the heroes of this story, and they all had to get together, and and Fern had to be the captain that she wanted to be, like lead and tell them what to do, and they had to trust her, and Wim had to go in the gunner seat. Like it was like everyone had to, and everyone had to do what they had to do. What we've been watching them do this whole series to get out of that catastrophe. That think about it. If that ship goes down right there, there's no more 2 episodes. The show's over. It's just like they just cut to black and they're like directed by George Lucas. The end, and we're out of there. I thought this was one of the stronger. I don't know if it was the most exciting episode because it's a character one, but I thought it was one of the strongest episodes by far. I'll say.
I like the bonding between Fern and Neil, but I preferred the bonding between Wim and KB. I thought that was a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Fern learned a lesson about how to deal with people and how to, instead of cutting those who are weak from you, to actually assist those who are weak from you. I think it's a very good bonding moment with Wim saving KB's life, because that's why he wanted to become a Jedi. He wanted to protect people. So I think that's why she called him a Jedi in the end, even though he didn't know the lightsaber or the Force.
Well, he's a Jedi. He is Rey's father.
What?
He's Rey's father. This is a theory. He's Rey's uncle.
Okay.
His last name is Palpatine. He's Wim Palpatine.
Ugh. Yuck. I saw a meme today. It was like the scene from the latest Batman where like Batman's talking to the Riddler through the glass of the jail he's being held, and it's like, "What did you do?" And he just starts singing Ave Maria, and then he punches, but then over it's like Star Wars fans when they're told in the last sequel that Palpatine for no reason is back. It's like, no, why? What did you do?
That's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I find
sorry.
these. No, I just wanted to say one thing before I forget it. I prefer seeing more character development because it's just like, otherwise then let's just watch Fast and Furious because we just want to see action shots. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't really, I mean, if you don't believe in Luke and Han and Leia, then they're like, oh, it's just miniatures spiraling around in a black void. So that's it.
I want to. We're banning Vermont Mike from the channel.
Why?
I'm going to put up his comment here.
Oh no!
I wonder if Neil will bite the dust by season's end. So Vermont Mike, you are officially. You and Kathleen Kennedy can go have lunch tomorrow because you're both banned.
Retired.
From the channel. Retired, but also banned from the channel.
Banned. I know you watched this movie, James, but I finally watched that Dear Santa movie with Jack Black.
Oh yeah,
the kid that plays Niels in it. And so if you need more Neil, just watch that movie because he's just like delivers. It's like you're right, James. Like that kid just acts with his hands quite a bit. I'm like, that's Neil. And then his voice
He's so
is
like
up.
offbeat. Like he's
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint the kid at all.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I think he's fantastic in this, but I don't know. Like, is he even acting, or is he just like, what am I good? I don't even know.
He's
the best.
He's Ralphie from The Christmas Story if Peter Billingsley had like actually known how to act when he was a child. It's like that's the vibe you get from him.
That's actually a
Very everyman, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I don't know. I didn't know it was him until like at some point. I think it was when I watched the behind the scenes on something, or I watched an episode and I heard his voice. I can't remember what it was. I'm like, is that the same kid? And I Googled it. I'm like, who is that kid's agent? We all need that agent in our lives, man. He booked a Jack Black movie and Star Wars in a year. Come on.
Yeah.
They all deserve a raise for that one. No, he's great. Neil's not dying. If Neil dies, we die.
Well, Neil's the
oh my God, he's good. There's enough kids in that family anyway.
That's true.
And the Neil family. Oh man.
Well, no, like Neil's like kind of like the raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it sounds stupid, but it's amazing on screen. Like you wonder how they're gonna pull it off, but it's actually really good.
The most innocent eyes that have ever been created for a puppet ever. They cut to it. I'm like, damn you eyes.
And then like the hair combed.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it gets messed up, but generally it's combed this way at all times. These kids are like filthy. His hair combed. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
I wonder if he's gonna have to kill somebody only because he's the most innocent and naive of the group.
I said this like in one of the first podcasts we did, after shows we did. I think that he might not end up on the planet. Like he might choose to leave the planet. He might be the one that decides to leave the planet at the end. He might Richard Dreyfuss American Graffiti this story. We have KB reminds me of the robot girl from the TV program Small Wonder, if anyone remembers it. Brock, are you a Small Wonder fan?
No.
Oh, but we can talk all day about my secret identity.
Hey, you'll never guess my secret identity.
I was like, you damn Canadians.
I remember Small Wonder. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah. She gives Geordie the Forge vibes, if anything. There. I love that these pictures are ready to go.
You're ready, man.
Jerry O'Connell, Trip McNeely. What a career. Young Jerry, and he's not like fat Jerry O'Connell from Stand By Me.
Yeah.
No, I believe he turned the. Oh, Darth Neal, make it happen. Can't get enough Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah,
he should be in Star Wars.
I mean, I saw Wicked yesterday, so maybe that's why this has been. Well, my sister hadn't seen it, so I wanted her to see it, and she was right. She agreed with me. That was amazing. But anyway,
was it amazing or was it wicked?
George Lucas, Side Akbar, George Lucas personally reached out to.
I heard.
To and congratulated me, say he loved it. But anyway,
oh cool.
I'm getting Wizard of Oz vibes a little bit with when.
Oh yeah,
there's no place like home.
Yeah. Oh my God! Imagine he wakes up.
Who's actually in charge?
Yeah, he like yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's great. Wicked was a really good movie. If you've got 3 hours to kill, it's on digital.
I'll watch it at some point.
You can watch it like a TV show. Just cut it up into like hour-long segments.
I mean, you might want to wait a year because it's only half of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I knew that, but I forgot. And then it ended. I was like, oh yeah, there's another half. And then I was like, wait, because I know nothing about Wicked. But I was like, but the 2 songs that I heard before have already been sung. So what's next? And that's where I'm just trying to figure out what the songs are going to be now. But they created 2 new songs for the second one. So now they're like, we're going to win the Oscar for Best Original Song. And I'm like, good for you, Wicked. Good for you.
Yeah.
We should all do the I'm not gonna see what we got here. No, I thought this episode was great. The kids acting too, I think has been like getting better every episode.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they've kind of like been coming, like their characters kind of growing into their own, really dealing with it. I still think Wim's best moment is when he turned on that lightsaber and it was
Oh,
upside
yeah.
down. And I'm like, I still think like that's one of the best moments in Star Wars because you're like, yeah, that's probably what would happen if anyone who's never touched one before did that. Like 100. I always think I brought this up last week, Bill, when I was paintballing like as a 15-year-old, and I walked up these stairs and slipped, and I shot the ground for like a minute straight, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what would happen. But I kind of have this feeling he's going to get a moment at the end with either a sword or a lightsaber or something, and he'll redeem himself from that moment. I just hope it's not corny.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say we joked about this during the countdown show because we were talking about John Donald was gonna take on the name Skywalker. But if he survives since he has blonde hair and a lightsaber and he's a con man, I could see him going around trying to convince people he's Luke Skywalker.
That would be awesome. And that's why everybody has Luke as like a myth. They all think it's Jod, Nana Wood. But Luke is like, you made me not be who I is, Jod. I'm going to put the link to our ranking show in the comments. If I can find the ranking show. Man, it's really easy.
I really can't see this show not being a success. Like if it's going to fulfill all the things we've been thinking of, because it's just like we have a whole week between episodes to think. But like the kids get more and more endearing every episode, so that conclusion of that storyline, they'll get it. Like it's like just like kids be cute, and you know all you have to do is step in front of danger, and then the show will be good. Like I think it'll be interesting to see will we get an answer on why Jod can do the Force? Can you do the Force? And then, like, what exactly is that at, and who was the captain? If we get all that plus a nice little like winning, like happy ending with the kids, I think this show is a win. So, I'm still saying it. It's just like episode 8. It's gonna finish, and I'm gonna make more of these episodes, and maybe that will be the success of the show. And they'll just throw the kids in things.
Well, one of the things I'm afraid of about doing too many seasons is one thing that The Simpsons has been able to avoid, which is why it's been on for almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
Puberty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Stranger.
Well, they did say there'd be. Yeah, they said if they do a season 2, there'll be a time jump. I want to bring in Bondage. Brittany has a theory on Jod Nana Wood. Okay, this is from like an hour ago when we first started. This is half an hour ago. This was written, so hopefully Bondage Brittany's here. Hi, here's a good theory. I just decided it's true. All right. I've been thinking a while. Jod Nana Wood might end up simply having a modification like KB. Cool ending, hug relating moment thing of a magnetic cyber hand. So far, the pretty much only manipulated small metal things, data pad, switches, lightsaber. Didn't force push security off the sidewalk things, etc. Nothing else Jedi Force. One time he said there's life over there and nothing over there. Which he would know since he's been there tons, as apparently his base is captain of the mothership, etc. Maybe they can do a Breakfast Club ending where Jod relates to each of them when they hug at the end, like he and KB are augment mod mates with his magnet hand. So I thought that was now how do I get this off the screen? I screwed up. I thought that was a pretty interesting theory because like I was thinking about like, oh no, he has the Force, but again, there are times I'm like, why isn't he doing a Jedi mind trick on Brutus right now? Like, why isn't he doing this and that? And he's picked up, like, it's true. The stuff that he's picked up has all kind of been that specific object. So I don't know if that's the case, but not, pretty good argument for that. What do you think, Brock?
Yeah, like a magnetic hand makes sense. Like he's even if explanation is very quick, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like it's as long as it makes sense, I'm all for it. Yeah, magnetic hand, totally could sync up. Like the Captain Silvo, whatever. Like he is very interesting, and like now you're like, oh, now I get why you got Jude Law for this, because yeah.
I mean, it was brought up with Haji in what's his name, Haji? I'm blocking
Yeah,
The
yeah. You come out on Johnny. Yeah,
the guy from Obi-Wan, who was also fake. He was a fake Jedi.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's not going to be a fake Jedi, because they said this is going to be a different type of Jedi, and we've already had the fake Jedi. But the hand is a little bit different because he never says he's a Jedi. Like he never claims to be a Jedi. The kids assume he's a Jedi.
My only thought, like this, he was in a pretty ruthless prison. Like I don't know about Canada, but I know about in the U.S. Like if you go to prison, they do a complete search. So I can't imagine they didn't search him before they throw him in there.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't do it to the kids, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, Vermont Mike's saying he's no Jedi, but Vermont Mike is banned.
Banned.
He's a Force user and not trained. That's more likely. Like I don't think he's a Jedi. I think he's.
Right.
They said he was gonna be a different type of Jedi. I like the hand idea, but I kind of like the idea that Ahmed Best rescues him after Order 66, and that's what's coming next week. Is this whole backstory on Ahmed Best rescuing John Nana Wood. I don't know what, like, that's the thing. Like, they've done, I hope it lands, whatever it is that he is, because they've done a great job of stringing us along. Like, he's not a Jedi. Oh, he's a Jedi. He can use the Force. He's not a Jedi, but he can use the Force. Can he use the Force? Maybe he can't use. Like, they've really done a good job of stringing us along and not distracting from the show. Right? It's not like we're watching the whole time, being like, "How is he doing it?" Like, we just are like, we accept it, like the kids accept it when he does it. And I just hope that whatever the explanation is, we're like, yeah, okay, that works. I don't need it to be mind blowing, and I really, honestly, I hope they don't try to make it mind blowing, because that's usually when Star Wars fails, is when they try to do the mind blowing Palpatine's back trick, and you're like, just stick to Star Wars. Like, don't worry about being mind blowing. Brock said it on the ranking show, where it's like, Empire Strikes Back. Once he said, "I am your father," everything after that had to have some massive stupid twist, and you're like, no, it doesn't. But fans are always like, "What's the twist? What's the twist?" And it's our fault, because the prequels didn't have many twists, unless you watch them for the first time and you find out, like Palpatine. But like, I just hope whatever it is it's good. It's well written.
I mean, that was pretty much revealed in Phantom Menace that Palpatine was the Sith, because they showed it at the end. They did close up on him at the end. I will say what the series did well, that Book of Boba Fett and Acolyte probably did not do well, which was their weaknesses. Both of them was mysteries. So this is a very intriguing mystery. And I remember, I think a lot of us were a little wary of this, because we all thought the whole show was going to be like Jude Law was a teacher and he took these kids on a field trip and they got lost in a.
That was the first rumor for it, right?
Yeah. Like, that sounds awful.
I think the Boba Fett point you made, though, is like there was no mystery in Boba Fett, and everybody wanted a mystery in Boba Fett. And then when there was no mystery in Boba Fett, Mando came in for 2 episodes and people just felt let down by it. Which, again, is like, we do a lot of it to ourselves. But yeah, this show's doing it's exactly what Star Wars needs to be for a little while, right? Like, just like, give us, like, you know what? Okay, we appreciate when you take a left turn and you change things up, but sometimes you just want to sit down, especially this time of year, like Christmas time. You just want to sit down and watch a stupid little adventure that is just fun and engaging, and you're like, oh yeah. And this is like, yeah, that's what the original Star Wars trilogy was, right? It was just sitting down and you're like, oh, look at that, run, run. Like with the kids at the beginning of the series where they're playing lightsabers and stuff. And this is all that is, and it knows what it is, and it tries its best to be that, and doesn't worry about all the other stuff around it. It's just like, no, this is what it is. We're not going to, we don't want to be Andor, and we're going to be Skeleton Crew, and that's all it is, and it just stays on that, and it doesn't worry about anything. It just kind of does it, and it's doing it well.
Have we hypothesized that Atten has something to do with the First Order? Have we talked about that at all?
Yeah.
I think Heidi brought that up once.
Yeah.
Didn't you, Heidi?
Yeah, and I'm tying that to the banking clan, but yeah, because somebody has to finance these ships that's buried on Exegol.
I think that would be a pretty sweet, and it doesn't even have to be the initial conclusion of the show. Like, I think Star Wars doesn't do this enough. Like, put a little after credit Easter egg.
Yeah.
And it's just like, finish your story, and then they're like, but also, and you're like, what? Even if it's just someone showing up. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe they're the ones who finance that big hyperspace ring to go get Scum.
I think the problem, Brock, with the end credit scenes is Marvel's kind of ruined them. Where, like, and I don't mean that like they've done too many of them or too bad. What I mean is the expectations that viewers have on them, because they existed before Marvel, and they were always like that little PS, and you're like, oh, look at that. Like, it was nothing big, and then Marvel came along, and they're like, it was the same. Like, the first one is that you're like, oh, that's fun, but then it's like they just showed you a clip from the next movie, and all of a sudden they became something. And I think just like binge watching streaming shows when Netflix did, it's become like this expectation from viewers. Now when a movie doesn't have one, people are like, oh, it doesn't have an end. Oh my, and they get mad. It's like, but maybe it doesn't need it. But I think like Boba Fett had that one, and it was perfect. Yeah. That was a perfect post-credit scene. And I think not Boba Fett, Mando season 2. Boba Fett did as well, which was good with Cobb Vanth. But like the Boba Fett, the Mando one about Boba Fett was the best one I think Star Wars has done. And it set up the next show, but it was just cool. It was like this cool moment. You're like, all right. And they could definitely do something like that more often. And I don't know, especially since they clearly want to be Marvel, I don't know why they don't do that.
Well, Sonic,
they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan, so they can't.
Sonic just did it. He did 2 after credits scenes, and it was like, if you like, most people probably don't get it because it's like introducing another character, but like if you miss it completely, doesn't affect your movie. You're like, yay, the good guys won, the end, right? Like, and it's like when it's separate, it's sort of like, oh, but what if this could be the next movie? This character shows up, and it's like, if they don't do it, it doesn't ruin anything. You're just like, oh, that's cool. The end. So,
well, it's interesting because like Andor was probably the most anti-Star Wars series of them all. Like it hardly had anything to do with anything. It was its own thing. I mean, it was about the grittiness and the people who fought and died for the rebellion. But their after credit scene was the building of the Death Star and showing that Andor was actually building the thing, the laser that was eventually going to kill him. Yeah. And if you think about it, Rogue One, it barely has any Star Wars thing, but as the movie progresses, I mean, right to the end, it's just all Easter eggs, including the 2 guys from Tatooine who Obi-Wan cuts his arm off. So I mean, it's like, I wonder if Andor's going to do that. I wonder if there's going to be a cutscene. I am hoping there's a cutscene. If there's a cutscene, I'm assuming we didn't know Donna Wood's fate, but then they're going to show at the end what happened to him.
Yeah, perfect example. It's like maybe Jod like sacrifices himself, and then all of a sudden you see a hand come out of a hole that he fell into, and he's like, "Oh, he's still alive!" And it's just that's it. Stuff like that is just perfect. So,
yep. All right, want to do the odds?
Let's do it.
The probability of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never
tell me the odds. Brought to you and everyone here by Rebel Scum Podcast. Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, why don't you come and support us in any way you can by going to the Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast so that we can buy more royalty-free music like this, like Cool Jazz and Mickey D. And also Cool Ranch Rock, because if it's not chips, you don't got dip. And then support us in any way you can and become one of the many few that say, these are the guys, and those people are Heidi Fetter, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Sooner Thrawn, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Dale Erdman, Phil Stanforth, Rez, Scott D,
Josh Price, Matt W, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Denim Nerds, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Ron Pasak, and Jeff Wilson. Special shout out also to Josh over at the Denim Nerds, who just had his second baby.
Oh, congratulations.
All right. Thanks, Patreon. Never tell me the odds. Jod Nana Wood is secretly helping the children. Jod Nana Wood is secretly helping the kids.
I'm going to go 30% because I think the character has to be kind of selfish. I think he'll change his tune at the end, but I don't think he's actively. I think he's always trying to figure out a plan. He's not like masterminding something. Like he's figuring it out as he goes.
Ivy?
So like, what's half Brock? Like 25%? I'm gonna go 25%. Only because maybe if the one theory is right, maybe he's trying to mislead the pirates so the children can get home safely.
Nice.
I'm gonna go. I think he's going to help the kids, but whether or not he is now active, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go 71%. That's the Star Wars twist. Is that he took the lightsaber. Why? He could have taken it earlier, but why does he have the lightsaber? So
I sent the crabs.
I sent the crabs. They were on you, so they want to eat you. They were going to fly. I was in the holiday.
I buried a ship on your planet.
Next odd, the droids will blast the pirates out of the sky before they contact the planet. Before the pirates even get to Ad-Adin, those droids will send them packing.
I'm gonna go 70%.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how those droids are gonna react. I'm gonna go 52%.
Here's a question. We haven't gotten the scene where the mom sent that hologram yet. Like, we'll find you, right? Or that's in the trailer. So that I don't think I thought they were going to go home this week, but now I think it's next week because they're going to get the hologram this week. I'm going to go full Brock. I think they might get shot. I don't think they're going to get shot down and killed though. But those droids have to be doing something on the planet, right? Mm-hmm. Droids. And our final odd today. Let us know what your odds are in the comments to the side. Wim will use a lightsaber for real by the end of the season. Wim will use a lightsaber for real by the end of the season.
Sure.
Sure. That's my percentage and like.
Is the music making you guys like really hyped for this?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna go 10% because I don't want that to happen at all. I think the scene we got of him with the lightsaber is just perfect. Even if he is force sensitive.
I'm going full Brock as well. On this one for me as well.
100%
from Ron right there. Bam.
I'm just gonna go 30%.
30% from Brock. Wim's ultimate fate is to be brutally murdered by Benjamin Solo. That is, Ron is on a mission. Ron Snoke. I think that's what we got. All right, those are our odds. Let's go over to top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5. Top 5 alien species of Star Wars. My number 5. Wookiees. Number 5 for me are Wookiees. Brock, sorry, but Wookiees number 5.
Well, because it's this show and it seems to be a new race, it still says on Neil's Wikipedia Neil's species. So Neil's species is number 5 for me.
Loving it. Neil's species number 5.
Neil's species.
I'm gonna go with the Hutts.
Hutts, good one. Good one.
I
Hutts
think
are my number 4. Hutts are my number 4. So that's a good choice, Heidi.
My number 4 is gonna be. I'll go Huts as well because it's just like, yeah, they're bugs and they're also gangsters. That's kind of wild.
I guess it was it. I don't know what they're all called. With Darth Maul species.
Oh,
Zabrak.
yeah.
Zabrak. All right. My number 3, I'm going to go Toydarian. That's right, Watto. You made the list, buddy. Congratulations, Watto. You're the best.
My number 3 is gonna be the Doug's Sabalba. He uses his hands for feet and his feet for hands.
And especially dangerous Doug, called Sabalba.
Doug. He's Canadian.
He's
I'm
Canadian.
gonna go with Neil's species.
Oh, you guys coming up with Neil species. My number 2 is Zabrax. The Zabrax, Darth Maul. You know what? To be honest, that's a cop out. I really only like Darth Maul. When the other ones show up, I'm always like, yeah. But Darth Maul's a 10 out of 10. So
Nice.
Zabrak number 2.
My number 2 is gonna be Ewoks because no doy.
Heidi?
That's it.
Twi'leks.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's going. My number 1 is what Brock's number 1 should have been, but he's spiting me for what his number 1 is on my list, and it's Ewoks. Ewoks.
My number 1 is Wookiees.
No.
Chewbacca is where it's at. I have Chewbacca figure over there. I'm not gonna get it. There's Chewbacca. Number 1. Heidi, what's your number 1?
I'm also gonna go Wookiees.
Yeah. Let the Wookiee win.
Okay.
Did I not say Jawa on my list? Take off Zabrak and put in Jawas.
Jawas.
I forgot to put Jawas is my number 2. Zabrak's out of the list. Jawa officially in there. I officially changed my list. And you can't tell me what to do. Good list, everybody. Wookiees. Ewoks are just Wookiees cut in half.
I'm sorry. I changed my number 1 to the alien who was trying to get money out of BB-8, played by Mark Hamill. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah. He's like a little not what are they, trolls? No, not trolls. Goblins. He kind of looked like a goblin from like Harry Potter sort of thing.
Yes. Who it wasn't? Oh, he was not a goblin in Harry Potter, but Mark Hamill probably would have. He probably will be in the new show that's coming out.
Yeah.
All these are voiced by Mark Hamill. Hey, I'm Mark Hamill. I do voices.
Oh, spot on.
You know, I've gone to conventions and people have paid me to sign their stuff as my. I do that voice. I'm Mark Hamill. Put on a beard. No one knows. No one knows. I love Skeleton Crew. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to actually watch and talk with you guys on a Tuesday after it airs.
Yeah.
Well, that half of that. See, Heidi, this is what I'm really going to hope it's a 15-minute episode, because the longer the episode is, the later we do the show.
Right.
So I'm like, if it's like they're like, this is a 5-minute episode, I'm like, brilliant, guys. We're on at 9:10. Let's go. But if it's 45 minutes, I'll be like, oh, we're not until 10. That means we're off of it at 11. That means I go to bed at 12. I'm old, and it's like, it's not, don't say it, Heidi. And it's just like, it's not like, I just can't do it anymore. So maybe if it is a long episode, I'll have like a little neck pillow, and I'll put some like shades on, and I'll do a little bit of this. This is how I test my friendship with Brock. Oh, Brock, by the way, I'll tell you after. Never mind.
All right.
Don't know if the government will come after me when I say it on there.
Anyways.
Anything else you guys want to say about the episode? Damn right I do.
I just think it's a great show. It's what it deserves.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Nice.
Brock?
Watch watch it. Why are you watching it? Watch the show now. Watch it 2 times. Watch it 3 times. Make it the most high rated Star Wars show on Disney Plus. And yeah, then we can get Skeleton Crew back to basics. Season 2. They go to high school. Bayside High. Fantastic.
With Mark Hamill narrating.
He's gonna play Miss Bliss.
He's trying really hard to sound like his young voice.
By the way, bringing that up, sorry, Miss Bliss. Miss Bliss was in the movie Trap with Josh Hartnett.
Yes, she was.
And she's the parent. She's the Parent Trap, and she's Miss
Haley
Bliss.
Mills.
And Haley Mills, and she's Pollyanna, and the marketing for this movie failed to mention that at all. I'm watching it. I'm like, Aaron, that's the Parent Trap, and she's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, no, I'm like, what's going on here? I'm not sure. You nailed it, and no one's talking about her in this movie. Blew my mind. You can have an icon like that and not even mention that she's in the movie. That's a bigger deal than Michael Keaton returning as Batman. No one argue that fact. Yeah.
I was gonna say she was also in Where Angels Go, Trouble Follows, or something like that.
Oh,
Nice.
Which was shot at Dorney Park in Allentown. So,
Oh, cool. Awesome.
10 minutes from my house.
Nice.
That's awesome. And on that note, thank you guys for joining me today on the Haley Mills podcast. Heidi, we'll see you on Tuesday after the show. Brock, we'll see you, but you will be and always have been. Wait, let's just the first show of the year. Oh, Happy New Year, everybody. Brock, you were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Oh, man, I forgot.
Scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.